If you're thinking of getting a new current account in 2023, whether that is to replace your existing account, you're not happy with the service you're getting, you're not happy with the app, or you feel like you're missing out on things elsewhere, or maybe because you want to add to your wallet, your second, a third, a fourth, a fifth current account. Effectively, there is no limit. You can have quite a few of them. I've got 20, okay? Then this is the video which will take you through my picks of things you should be looking for, the best ones under certain categories, whether that's the best one for switching, the best one for the app, the best one for interest, the best one for overdraft, the best one for ethics, and more, just to help you make that selection of which one you want to go for. And I'm going to break it down with a top 3 in each of those categories. Now, I should say, obviously, this is where we are at the start of the year. Things will change. They absolutely will. But every single month here on the channel, I do an update of the best current account news, what's happening, new features, brand new current accounts, and switching deals, all that kind of stuff. So make sure if you haven't already, you do hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, so you get told about them every time they come along. Let's start off with what I think is probably going to be one of the most popular ones out there, which is the best current account for switching. And you see I've got nothing written here. That's because these deals come and go on a very, very frequent basis. Literally right now, there is one current account from First Direct offering money. But in a week's time, there could be half a dozen. There could be none. It's impossible to say. So I'm not going to list them here. Where I do list them is over at becleverwithyourcash.com/bank. So head over there, bookmark it, check it on a regular basis, because as soon as something's happened, that's where you're going to know about it. And then obviously I'll also tell you about it in my monthly video updates. What I will say though, it is very much worth opening up an additional account at a bank that you are not going to use, or a second account with your main bank. And I call this a dummy current account. And this is the one that you can use to switch to get that free cash without it jeopardizing other features you have with your existing bank, or without losing a current account that you might want to keep, because it gives you some of the things we're going to talk about in these other features. So open up a dummy account, check out my video on that one. And that hopefully will mean you can, throughout this year, earn hundreds, if not up to £1,000, if not more, over the year from those switching bonuses. Next up, I want to talk about the best banking app, because to me, other than the free switching cash, this is the biggest reason why you might want to change who you bank with. Because I don't know about you, I very, very rarely log on to online banking. I'm not sure I've even done that this year. And I very, very rarely go into a branch. Again, I can't think I've done that this year at all. Obviously, it helps to have more than one current account, so you've got all those different options. But most of the time, I do my main banking on the one which gives me the best experience via the app. Really, really important to me. So important. And here are my top 3. We have Starling, we have Chase, and we have Halifax. Now, number 1, head and shoulders above the rest, was Starling. Really, really choice for me to make. I think if you are looking for a simple feature where you could do everything from scratch. Remember, Starling, it's been built as an app. There's no legacy systems that need to be ported over. Then that is the one to go for. Last year, I had Starling and Monzo tied. This year, Monzo's not even in my top 3. And I think Starling has made enough changes to really make it that top pick. Including just in the last few weeks, they've introduced virtual cards, which you can attach to their sub-spaces accounts and pay from those separately for free without a charge. So that is a really, really nice addition. I'm sure they're going to continue to innovate. Next up, I've gone for Chase. Now, Chase does a lot of the similar things that Starling will do. Not all of them, and there are some things which it doesn't have, which is absolutely why it can't go to number 1. But I find it very easy to use. People I know who have signed up to it, they're very sort of happy with how they use it. And it does have, again, built from scratch. So all the same things that Starling has in terms of, copying your card number, sharing your details, some basic analytics of your spending. Really, really worth looking at that one as well. And the last one I've gone for is Halifax, simply because I think a lot of you might be a bit unsure about going fully digital. You might want to have a bank that you know, one that has a decent high street presence as well, although admittedly a very sort of fast dwindling rates. But Halifax, the app there, I think they've made a lot of really good improvements over the last few years that gives it the edge over the rest of them. You can do most of your banking, if not all of your banking, in the app, which is really, really important to me. Maybe 1 or 2 things you have to still do online or go into branch. But on the whole, that one, you're not going to be dissatisfied with that if you are with one of the other main banks. Next up, the best card for spending. And again, there's a very, very clear winner here. It's Chase once again. You get 1% cash back on the vast majority of your spending for the first 12 months. Now, after a year, that's not great, obviously. And we remain to see whether Chase switches it up, whether it extends the offer. They've already extended it once for people who were early adopters, or whether it will just tail off and they'll hope that people are using it enough they don't need anything. But one to keep an eye on. But definitely, if you've not got the account, or you've got one right now and you've still got that cash back, absolutely do the vast majority of your spending on there. I would say in the vast majority of situations, even more so better than a cashback credit card. After that though, I would go with Starling Bank for spending. And the big reason for that is this is basically if you don't want the Chase account or you've got Starling anyway, both of these accounts are fee-free to use overseas. So well worth doing that. You'll save yourself a little bit of cash when you're abroad. So that's why Starling gets my second one pick. The third one is Santander Edge. It's a new account. If you watch my recent video update, you'll know that I wasn't overly excited about it. I mean, it's decent. It has lots of different things which are great about it. And one of those is cashback on certain spending, basically on groceries and travel. Mainly it's what commuting costs, which is great, but you can get the cashback on those same places via Chase or via an American Express card. So it doesn't really give you any additional benefit if you've got Chase or an Amex for that option there. Plus you've got a fee you've got to take into account. But as we get onto this next section, which is the best card for bills, you'll see that actually Santander Edge might be worth considering. However, it is not my top pick when it comes to paying bills. The top pick is sadly an account that isn't available anymore, which is why it's not top of the list. But if you've got it, stick with it. These other options are not better. That is a Santander 123 Lite account. If you still have this, you will be earning cash back on your bills, and do not swap it for one of the others. However, if you don't have it, absolutely look at either the Santander 123 accounts or the Santander Edge account, the one I spoke about just now. They both give money back on your core bills, council tax, gas, electricity, broadband, TV, things like that. But you get different rates and different fees associated. If you want pure cash back on bills in terms of profit, the 123 has the edge, over the edge, because you will make a little bit more because you get a higher percentage rate on things like your energy bills, which are sky high right now. But if you do want to take advantage of the spending on the debit card and, as we'll get to in a second, interest on savings, then you might want to choose the edge. Again, they're both going to make you money on your bills, things you're spending anyway, so you may as well grab them. The third option though is if you don't want one of those, or for whatever reason you can't get it, it's back to Chase, because obviously some bills, but not all bills, you can get the 1% cash back on. So again, and some bills actually which aren't included in Santander accounts, such as maybe your Netflix bill, your Spotify, again, paying for them via Chase will earn you some cash back. So it's a good way to pay those. And you can actually set up a sub account within your Chase account if you want to, which is dedicated to those options with its own sort code and own account number, which makes it easier to set up those standing orders or direct debits. Now, when it comes to additional current accounts, not necessarily your main account, but additional current accounts, this is where you can start earning freebies, whether it's money or cinema tickets or discounts, whatever it might be. And there are a handful out there, but my top one, as I'm sure if you're a regular viewer of the channel, won't be surprised to know, is the Halifax Reward account. £5 a month, 60 quid a year. You have to jump through a few hoops, but it's not too difficult. And if you follow my hack, my Halifax Reward hack, it also means you don't miss out on that 1% cash back from Chase as well. So effectively, you're going to be earning £10 every single month from the first £500 spend. So check out that video. Plus, also in that video is the fact you can get 3 of these in a year. So that could be worth 180 quid, maybe 360 if you do it combined with Chase every single year. Relatively easy money. If you want really, really, really easy freebie, then I would actually be looking at the Lloyds Bank, the Club Lloyds current account. Once you've got it set up, money has to come in every single month and out every single month to avoid a fee, but you get 6 free cinema tickets, or what I get is a magazine subscription. It's money for nothing, as long as you're happy to have the extra account, but you can leave it sitting there, do nothing with it, and just make sure that you get that freebie every single year. The last one I'm going to talk about though here is Monies. Now, this one is not a guarantee. This is a promotion which tends to run every single month, and it's 10% off gift cards. You have to be fast though, because they can sell out within hours. Only a limited number of these discount codes available. So generally what I would do here is set up a reminder, set up a note to keep an eye on these things, or join the community over on Facebook. BeCleverYourCash.com/community would take you there, because someone is bound to post it when it's live. If it's not me, someone else in the group will say, look, go and grab them now while you still can. But that one could be saving you a decent amount of money, because those gift cards, as the Waitrose, Sainsbury's, you know, things you're going to be spending money on right now, which can make a big, big difference. You know, if you can do it every single month, that could be a decent amount of cash that you get. Now, when it comes to your savings, just whacking them in a current account that is not generally a good idea. But some of the highest paying interest rates out there are linked to current accounts. You have to have a current account to access those additional accounts. And my pick for here is probably the Barclays Blue Rewards account. This one will pay 5.12% on up to £5,000. that is better than you're going to get anywhere else. You have to go through a few hoops for the blue rewards, but 5K in there, nothing above that, but 5K, you'll get 5%. That is a really highest paying option out there. The next one is probably a regular saver. Although it has a higher paying interest rate, it's only a certain amount you can pay in every single month. There are a number of decent ones linked to current accounts. My pick though is the First Direct one, 7% up to £300 that you can put in a year. If you do that, you get 135 quid back after 12 months. So really, really worth, I think, having the First Direct account for that purpose. And after that, yeah, there are lots of options I could have chosen here, probably more regular savers with a higher interest rate. But I've gone for Chase as my third choice here, just in terms of convenience, because this one offers 2.7% on easy access savings. There are no limits, well, other than £500,000 on how much you have saved in there that earn interest. There's no separate accounts you have to open. It's pretty much, well, you do open it up within the app, but it's all in one place. And I think that convenience might make it more appealing to people other than going to a completely different savings provider, open up an easy access account there where you don't know the app, you don't know what's going on, just to get a slightly higher rate. I personally would go for a higher rate elsewhere, but I'd appreciate I whacked it in here just to help you. Now, I do a monthly update on the best savings accounts as well. So if you want to make sure you know you are still getting the best rates out there, whether they're linked to current accounts or linked to something completely separate, then make sure you do check out those updates every single month. Now, you might not have any savings, so that one's less relevant to you. And in fact, you might be overdrawn. And if you are, then the best overdraft, the best 0% overdraft out there is going to save you a huge amount of money. Really, really important that you prioritize this over all the other features I've spoken about, because an overdraft could be charging you 40% every single month. A huge amount of money. Best one here is the Nationwide Flex Direct current account. You can only get this once, and you can only get it for 12 months. So if you've had this account before, tough luck, right? But if you can get it, it could be a relatively decent sized overdraft at 0%, which means you've got more time to clear that debt before the month is up. Same as you would with a balance transfer credit card or something like that. Now, you can do an eligibility search on the Nationwide website, first of all, to get an idea of how big that overdraft is going to be, how much of your overdraft it will eat up. So certainly worth going for that one if you have a decent sized overdraft. If you have a smaller one or you only occasionally dip into it, then I would look at First Direct. First Direct will give you normally £250 0% buffer all the time, all year round. It's currently, you have to request the increase, but it's currently for early 2023 increased to £500 for 12 months. After that year is up, it will revert back to 250 quid. But if you are struggling for little bits every single month, it's definitely worth looking at that. The other one you could look at here potentially is HSBC. That one is also giving you £500 for a year, but once that year is up, that will revert to zero. And at some point this year, it will just disappear completely. You won't be able to apply for that. So I really, if you're looking for that buffer, prioritize First Direct over HSBC. Now, all these features I've listed so far sound pretty fantastic, right? So you might be tempted to open up a number of different accounts to get your hands on all those free extras as much as you can. However, the majority of the banks that offer them are generally regarded as pretty unethical when it comes to their wider investing practices. So the money you have sitting with a lot of those big banks, whether that's Barclays or Santander or Chase, whoever it might be, and pretty much all those big high street banks, a lot of that will be going towards practices you might personally have an issue with. Maybe that's the funding of new fossil fuel extraction. Maybe it's going towards investing in arms manufacturers. There's a number of different issues out there which you might not even realize that your money is being indirectly used for. The banks will use that and they will try and get a return on it, and that's how they fund a lot of the stuff they give back to us. Or they are, giving very, very high charges, such that 40% overdraft I mentioned just now, to some of the more vulnerable customers, make the money off that and give it to us who are more affluent or more confident with our cash. And you might think that's not very fair. And if that is how you feel about things, then you want to be looking at an ethical current account. And the top three right now, I would say number one is Triodos. This is head and shoulders above the rest when it comes to ethical practices and disclosures and the things it does with your money. The downside with it is it comes with a £3 fee every single month. Now, you might think that it's fine to do that, to spend that money because actually you want to make a difference. You don't want to be subsidized by people elsewhere. But that is your top pick. The app is also not as good as the other options out there with a lot of the other banks. It's making lots of improvements. You can do your basics with it, absolutely, but it's not all whiz bang and fancy. Nationwide, that is also, if you want something more mainstream, which is free, any of their current accounts are going to be good options to go for. As a building society, the vast majority of the money that it has are used to fund mortgages. That's what they're built for. So that you're not going to find them, again, investing in some of those practices you don't want. So that is a good option all round as well, particularly with a high street presence. But again, I used to love it so much, but the app is still sitting a fair bit behind the big providers out there, big banks out there. So that is a big downside for me, is the app. However, that gives us to the third option there, which doesn't score as highly when ethical consumer do look at current accounts, but it does pretty well and is up there from those sort of digital banks and much the higher levels, is Starling Bank. Again, it's not going to be perfect. There will be some things. It's not assess itself out as an ethical bank, but it does do better than a lot of the other options out there. And you do get, as I mentioned at the top, a much better banking experience. Which brings me to the last section. And this is just my best 3 overall banks right now. If you're only going to have a couple of banks, and you want to keep it relatively simple, which ones would I go for? Which ones I think you should go for? Well, number 1 won't surprise you. It is Starling Bank. That app experience is head and shoulders above the rest. Absolutely the best one out there. Plus it scores, I say, relatively well ethically as well. So I'm very happy having that as my main account. If you're keen to have something which is more high street focused, then I would then look at Halifax. It has that reward account, so free money coming in every month, which is great. Plus, I do like the app. Again, I think that's a really, really important feature to look for. So that one will give me my second choice there. And third, I'm going for Chase because it does offer the cash back. It has a decent savings rate, not the best, but a decent savings rate. And the app is pretty good as well. So that is a nice one to have. If for whatever reason you've had Starling and don't like it, another one to put in third place. I'd love to know what your top 3 current accounts are. Make sure you list them in the comments below. Plus, shout out any banks you think I've missed out or been unfair to. My name is Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check out these videos right here for more ways to help you get the most from your money.